Hello, friends. Welcome back to Female Voices Life and Loss. I'm Wayna Beery.
And I'm Teresa Reiniger, your
So,
co-host.
yeah, my amazing co-host who's like 25, with energy and spirit. She is ready to go outside. I want to be just like
25
you. Grow up.
plus 25 plus 40 is to be exact.
You don't look a day over it. Take the win. Take the
Thank
win.
you. Thank you. Thank you. I
So
will
we
take
are
it.
talking about parenting adult children. I do have clients where it's just it's a delicate dance to
Mm,
really to get to know this adult child and not parent like a little person. It's a little challenging for some adults to
sorry.
deal with. How does your relationship with your children evolve?
Oh, it's still evolving.
There's stages. So, let's
It's
start with maybe from moving to adulthood, maybe from maybe high school or college age.
Yeah, the big shift, I think there was a huge shift when they went to college because now you don't know anything that's going on with them. And I can vividly remember my oldest daughter when she went to college, the day I dropped her off at college, and
Wow.
she was ready to be out of from under my roof, her and my dad. She was
Wonderful.
ready to go. And I remember giving her a hug, or saying I love you and saying, can you at least call me once a week so that I know you're okay? You know?
Yeah.
So that was hard. That was really
Mhm.
hard parenting to not see her every day, not communicate every day. We had, and statistically, they say a lot of times those relationships get strained a little bit, and that the
Mhm.
child almost forces that uncomfortableness. So it's easier to leave. So I do remember, I remember that and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, she's made me kinda angry and mad, and do I really wanna talk to her?" But that was so
Just the
true.
process.
Oh my gosh. So freshman year was kinda rough. She did call me on Sunday once a week, and
Okay. Mhm.
now I would tell you right now what's interesting is she is the daughter that probably calls me more often than the other 2. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
she's the one that reaches out and says, "Hey, what's going on?" In fact, I talked to her this morning.
Mhm.
"What you got going on today? What's going on all day?" So
Mhm.
she's the one that reaches out. So it's funny how it has evolved and changed because she didn't want to talk to her mom when she went to college at all, and now she's the one that I talk to the most. So
She probably has leaned into some wisdom, like mama know mama been here before. Understand. Nothing new under the sun.
probably because college students, their parents don't know anything, nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. Me and Gabe had a different dynamic though. It was just
Yeah.
like, let's organize this room. Let's put everything up and God bless.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like it
Mhm.
was like, I'm ready, you're ready. I'm like, good luck. See you. You know where I'm at? Like it was
Yeah.
it was great. I was like, have fun. His
Yeah.
father was there. I think he had probably had more of a hard time because he was just
Yeah.
like, hey, you guys don't need to be doing this, you guys don't need to be doing that. White noise. They were like,
Yeah, no, we helped her with everything, get everything up and
uh-huh.
all of that, but it was just like, "Just call me once a week." And it was interesting too, this coming to memory, when she
Mhm.
graduated from college, I bought balloons and flowers and everything,
Mhm.
and she came off of the stage after her name and getting diploma, and I went to give her a hug, and she was embarrassed. She said, "Why did you bring all that stuff?" And I'm like, "Lady." But she was, like, mad at me. I'm like, "What the heck?"
I feel like Gabe was doing the same energy. Yeah,
Stop.
I got
This is
like,
your
you know,
mom. I'm celebrating.
Donna created 5 videos where he looks amazing. I'm like, "Oh my god." I'm like, "Gabe, look, 1 video, 1, 2, 3, 4." He was like, "Mom, like, really? What are we doing?" So he's the same energy.
Yeah.
His father expressed an emotional response to him graduating because he's like,
Aw.
"Gabe, you're the first man in our family," which is his family, to graduate, like, go straight through,
Oh.
get done at 22, not 40. It was
Mhm.
like, "Gabe, this is
Mhm.
huge." I guess Gabe probably looks at me and he's like, "Mama, I've got 4 degrees," like, "Whatever." You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's
Yeah,
still a
yeah,
big
yeah.
deal, and so he's not leaning into it, so it's
Mhm.
interesting that they share that in common, like, "You're doing too much."
Yeah, I think they, must feel like I'm an adult, that I don't need all that, and we as moms are like, "Dang, we are proud. We want everyone to see, we want everyone to know. I know you've been posting a lot about your
Mhm.
son, and so
Every day.
that is super proud." And so it is more difficult, I'd say. There were times where it was more difficult to praise them when they pushed back so much. It's like,
He did, yeah.
I'm like, "I'm still your mother."
Yeah. I didn't get any senior photos in high school, I didn't get any homecoming pictures, I didn't get any prom pictures. I'm like, "Dude, let me live." But, let's see, what
Yeah,
surprised you the
I'm trying
most,
to
I guess, about that
yeah,
season 2?
yeah, and I'm trying to think about my other daughters as well.
Mhm.
So, I think even now it's, you go through a process from high school to college to after college to where my daughters are married and now have children of their own, and now
Mhm.
that they have children of their own, there's a bigger shift again. You
Mm.
know, there was more communication when it was just them, and then they got significant others, people they were dating. So then it shifted back to not so much communication because they're busy. And then they get married and they want to ask you a lot of questions because you're putting in some dollars there. And so then the questions come again and more contact. And then they have children, and it's a beginning. There's a lot more questions for support because moms have been through that. But then they get super busy, is where my girls are now with their kids. Like, I don't see the grandkids very much, where I used to watch them every week, and now I don't
Mhm.
see them. So it just shifts all the time. And, I have on, as we're going into the 2026, or
Mhm.
um, starting that, it's like, "Hey, I wanna put some things down." Like, I wanna see my grandkids or at least talk to them once a week, a couple times a week. Maybe I can
Mhm.
FaceTime them, whatever. And I did that last year for 2025, but it's like, it's not a reality. It's a hard thing to do because they have so much going on. Parenting has changed, and it continues to change even
Mm.
with the adult children. Sometimes they ask advice, and sometimes they do not.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody even asks me for advice. I just share. I'm an oversharer. I think everybody knows that by now. But Gabe, I don't know. I mean, I think what surprised me the most is him going to college maybe the first year, coming home on holiday, and he like did the dishes and took out the trash and all these things without being asked. Because he had witnessed or had experiences of his roommates or suite mates and all these people, and their parents don't treat them well. And so he was
Oh.
like, my mom would never treat me that way. So he got kind of a realization that like everybody don't parent like my mom's parent. They don't look after me. They don't give me make sure I got resources, all these kind of things. So it very much was more of a appreciation for me and how I raised him. Prior to that, I was horrible. I was mommy dearest part two. She's just always on me with the structure, and I got to do this, and I can't breathe, and that. And then he gets there and he's like, "Whoa, I got resources, I got a car, I got some money coming in, I got this, I got that." Oh, my mom did a whoa,
I'm
maybe
sure
she
there are.
might know what she talking about?
Yeah, that's awesome. Because 'cause I'm sure
It
there
was.
are a lot of kids that don't have any resources, like,
Mhm.
college is all on you,
Ugh,
sort of thing.
yeah, I'm
But
dealing with
yeah.
that with some clients where
Yeah.
they just don't have any support. And then with the political climate and things like that, those grants and funding are gone. So they're like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, well, and if they have any, like you talked about your Gabe's father, like, if
Mhm,
what has happened in the past is there's no one that has graduated, and these
mhm.
children are wanting to do that. So I wonder if the parents are like, that's not important to give them all the resources. They need to do this on their own, sort of thing. So that makes it even harder for them.
I've gotten a lot of pushback from some male friends that I have, meaning kind of godfather-ish kind of roles, and they were just like, "Well, why are you paying for his grad school? Why are you?" I was like, "'Cause I can." You know what I'm saying? Like, "What do you mean, what?" They were like, "Well, he can figure that out on his own." I was like, "He probably could, but I'm
Hmm.
here,
Hmm.
and I
Yeah.
and I can, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
do it." So I think for minorities, though, especially, it's a different kind of mindset, because traditionally a lot of us don't have it to give to our kids, you know?
Uh-huh.
And so when you're in a unique position that you can, they're like, "Whoa, you're doing all that? Why you doing all that?" And I'm like, "'Cause he's doing everything he's supposed to do."
Uh,
He's not like
yeah,
a open nurtured kid or, "My mom better do this." He has 0 of that spirit, super humble.
yeah, and I think that happens, and it's interesting, and I'm gonna give you a lot of kudos for being able to step above and outside of what the norm was probably for you. You may not have experienced
Mhm.
that where your parents provided all for you to go to school. I don't know. They may have you just did it on your own, but I think I compare that to sometimes just people shifting the way that and changing the way that they were brought up. And one example that just happened this
Mhm.
week with my daughter
Mhm.
was that, and sorry, family, if you're listening to this and it's offensive to you, I'm sorry. I'm just sharing what was said. And just she said, "I find myself like being a yeller," she said. Like when things happen, I
Mhm.
get stressed or whatever, a child, spouse, whatever, she said, "I find myself being a yeller." And she said, "Well,
Mm.
it's just what's been taught to me." And I
Mm.
was like,
Oh,
"Whoa, wait a minute, hold
I gotta
on.
see what?
I'm curious. Like, let's dive into that a little bit because I want to know
You're
because
like, "Let's unpack. Let's
was
unpack this."
yeah, I was like, "Was I a yeller?" And she said I'm like, "Well, maybe I was because 'cause I'm not really a yeller right now, but maybe I was." And I'm spinning, my brain's just spinning, trying to think and all of the things, and I'm like and she's like, "No, no, mom, you're not really a yeller, but your family is." I'm like, "Oh, okay," because 'cause I'm like, I felt like I did the opposite because of how I was brought up, and that's what I look like like, for you, like, I fought really hard. Ev Sorry, family, again, that my family can be more on the negative, many of them, side, and I feel like I'm positive, like, I feel like I did a lot to reverse the way I do things, the way I handle things, than with the way it was modeled and taught to me. And so when
Mhm.
she said that, I'm like, maybe I just don't remember because I've been working so hard for this positivity and things. So I'm like, oh my gosh. But then when she said, oh, that's your family. I'm like, okay, but I feel the
Right,
same like with
exactly.
you. Yeah, like, you're doing this all for Gabe, but it might not have been for you. So you're changing the way the tradition or how things have been in the past is what I see. Or were you given the same as are you doing the same as what you're doing now? What you've done with Gabe, was that done for you? Or
So,
did you kind of do what I did?
this
Like,
is
I'm not
this
doing
is
it
all
that
brand
way.
new. Most of
Yeah.
all of this is brand new. And so, sorry, family, again, but truth is a light. But, when I graduated with, my bachelor's, I got 2, and I think I invited my maternal family's the one I'm closest to. I invited all of them,
Hmm.
like, all of my family lives here, each side, both sides.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I swear maybe the only people I believe that came were people who were not my family. Like, my mom came, but,
Mm.
like, nobody else a part of my family was
Oh.
there.
Mm.
But I am the first in my maternal side to graduate, to go to college, and to go to grad school, and to buy a home on my own.
Okay.
So, I pretty much had to figure that out, and knowing that, I made sure to do certain things for Gabe. Gabe was in private school early on because I was like, "I didn't get the foundation, I don't want him to struggle like I struggled." Gabe was on honor roll, Gabe had tutors in the summer, like, I wanted to make sure he kept his
Yeah.
knowledge, and to God be the glory because Gabe, I mean, I haven't had to look at homework since 5th grade.
Yes.
He's been doing and handling it, um, and he really made my job easy as a parent,
Nice.
you know?
Nice.
But the other side that I was just gonna say is I didn't experience those things myself, so it was very, very challenging to know the healthiest path through that, and so when I say, "Sorry, mom," It's in the book. Teresa, I wrote a book and it's all about becoming this person. How did it happen? And so those kind of stories are in it, just
Nice,
like no one was
nice.
coming. I had to figure it out. No one was coming.
Yeah, yeah. So one thing we have in common is we kinda took a different path than what was kinda modeled to us because we have found that we are very opposites on many things, but we are very very much the same on not taking what was modeled to us and not doing
Mhm.
the same thing that, "Let's take this other path. Let's do something different than carrying on what has been happening for generations and let's break that generational, I'll say, curse that was there."
But your story about the yelling reminded me of something. 'Cause I was that person, and it took my church member 'cause I would just
Mm,
be fussing, "Do this, da, 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 da." And my church member was like, "Wayna, if you keep talking to him like that, he's gonna marry a woman that's gonna talk to him the same way."
mhm,
I was like,
yeah.
"Not my treasure, not my angel son. Nobody's gonna talk to my son like that." I changed that day. Everything became a
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah,
So when it was serious, I brought it all the way down to a monotone.
mhm,
Which is
yeah,
a little scary because kids have to lean in because they can't hear you fully. So they're like,
mhm,
"Is she gonna hit me? Trying to
yeah. I'm
listen."
not I'm
But
not
yeah,
saying
yeah,
that I never yelled.
nah,
I know
stop.
I did. I can remember, like, when my daughter said that, I'm like, "Oh, I remember this, I remember this, I remember that," but I think overall, I did not. But there was definitely times where the voice got raised to get some attention,
Oh,
no
I was
doubt.
horrible. Again, babe's gonna have a mommy dearest. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because I was very rigid, very structured, just very. I always thought I was gonna die. I just had this feeling that I was gonna die before he was grown. So I was just like,
Mhm.
I gotta give it all to him right now. Like you gotta learn it all. He's 5. He can't
Wanted
learn it
you to
all
be
right.
prepared.
But yeah, those little babies, I do treasure them though. It is so beautiful to see, your adult child adulting properly and figuring it
Mhm.
out and making good
Mhm.
choices. I get so
Mhm.
proud. I'm like, "Oh my god, you're
Mhm.
gonna
Well,
that's fine."
I think just with that awareness, her talking about that and that awareness
Mhm.
coming out will be a shift for her because, I mean, we didn't go into depth on that, but I see that. And I do that many times when I'm doing coaching as well. It's like, okay, now we've had a conversation. So there's an awareness now that
Mhm.
just like you. Okay, maybe this is now being passed on to my daughter, and
Mhm.
maybe I need to think more about this because just the awareness that her saying, "Well, your family yelled," is like, but is that a good thing? You're not liking how you feel when you do it, so you're modeling that now for your
It's so
child.
true. I do like
So
what you just said though. You're not liking when you're yelling. Does that feel good to you? Yes. And most
just
people be like, "No."
Yeah, I can just remember how I felt with that yelling, and I just shrunk with it, and I'm like, "I do not want that with my children. I don't want them to shrink, and I want them to stand strong. I want to be super strong women."
Mm.
And I say now sometimes because of who they are now and the pushback I get sometimes is like, "Okay, I made them too strong."
The strunky shoulders, I vividly remember I was fussing at Gabe, and I don't even remember what it was because it wasn't anything life or death. And I was just, we were riding in the car, and I'm just, you need to do, and I just saw them, like you just said, them shoulders just come off.
Mhm, deflate.
And I was
Yeah,
like, and then I had to spend twice as much time.
bringing them back up.
Yep, because I was just like, "Okay, you didn't rob a liquor store. It's not life or death. You can still make
Yeah,
good decisions. You always make good decisions usually. I don't know what happened this time." I had to keep going. It was just and I'm driving and watching to see when they come back up, you know?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's probably about an hour of me just accolades, accolades, you're great.
Yeah.
Just one hiccup. You can do it. You can do it. Come on, come on.
Yeah. 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 And I want to just say to the audience for sure, like, give yourself grace. Obviously, we've done it and we're learning from it. And what did you say? Twice as much time to pull him back up and bring him back up as it does to push them down and
Mhm.
get them in a place that is not in a good space. So just the quicker we can shift as people and be aware of that. And I'm glad that we're talking about this because this
Mhm.
too now is an awareness for those that are listening. Like, ooh, do I do that?
Yeah.
Maybe a generation before me did that. Now I'm doing the same thing, but I don't necessarily like it that I'm doing it. Well, you
Mhm.
can change that just because something has been in the past generations, that's the way they did it. We've all heard that before, like doing the same thing over and over. We're going to get the same results. So if you don't want those results, then let's switch that. And we can switch it. We've all heard, read stories of people that have been brought up in the worst of situations that have
Mhm.
rose to be CEOs and attorneys and doctors or whatever. So it can be done with
It's,
everyone. There's some
there's a
willpower
plus
there.
sometimes to that as well, though,
Yeah.
like, I know things that I definitely don't do well. I'm not an affectionate person because that wasn't modeled in my house.
Sure.
You know, we didn't hug each other,
Yeah.
kiss each other, we didn't say, "I love you," we didn't all these things.
Mhm.
So my son, of course, thinks like my mother's stoic. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
emotionless or whatever. But it's around that time, teenage years, where I start telling him my own journey. The things I do
Mm.
for you were not done for me. I was by
Sure.
myself when I was a teenager, and I was taking care of my sister for a year by myself. He's like, "What? Where was Grant?" I was like, "She lived somewhere else. She didn't live with us." He was like, "What? Why did she live with you?"
Yeah.
As I'm learning my mom's story, I can give her more grace. And so
Sure.
I try to share that with Gabe, even now, meaning grief, blah, blah, blah. Gabe, this is why I'm moving the way I'm moving. I try my best. I'm doing the best. He's like, it's okay, mom. I get it. But it's a sweet relationship to be able to talk to your adult child. Not putting
Mhm.
your crap on them, but just want to explore. Like, this is why your mom behaves the way she does,
Mhm.
and this is
Mhm.
why I did this because I want to make sure you were good. And he's like, okay, sweet time though. It really is.
That is for sure because and I love that you said that because that is what's most important is that communication. So that
Hmm.
if you do some things that maybe you need to explain why that communication is always open
Hmm.
to do that. I think most things that happen that don't serve us or don't do well within our family, whatever it is, traditions or whatever, it's because there's been a lack of communication, good communication.
Healthy, respectful communication. And
Yeah.
I do have to give Gabe like some credit for being super mature
Hmm.
emotionally. Even during a disagreement, he stayed in the conversation because he wanted
Hmm.
to understand and I wanted to understand. So he didn't just be like, ugh, and walked away. He was just like, no, I don't understand this. What's happening?
Yeah, that's awesome. What else about parenting?
Have you ever had a challenge with letting go?
Of course I have. And yeah, many, many times, especially now with, I think, grandchildren
Mm,
and letting my children raise their children that they feel is best for them.
mhm,
And sometimes I'm like, because what we just talked about,
mhm,
as yellers, I see that them doing that with their children. And I really do have to just let go of that and let
mhm,
them. It has come up in conversation now with one daughter. It would be nice. It did come up quite a few years ago with another one of my daughters.
mhm,
But I think that's the biggest part of it is letting go of me always wanting to teach and change maybe how they're doing things. It's a whole new
mm,
generation. And the
yeah,
way I raised my daughters, many of those ways that I did things
mhm,
are not the best way now because times have changed. And that's really hard. That's really
mhm,
hard to be like, just let that go. You know what you did. I know what I did worked for them,
mhm.
but to be able to just let that go and let them raise their children the way they feel is best because they're different people than I am.
That is a challenge. I know my mom used to do that a lot, when my son was probably 8, 9, 10. 'Cause
Hmm.
they they couldn't see the vision. You know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
knew that my son would be bigger than me. His father's 6'3". I was just like, me and him gotta have an understanding because he's taller. He's in 5th grade. We're the same height.
Mhm.
Um, so they didn't like that. They very much felt like I was just being very militant with him, and they would share often. So I had to have a coming to Jesus talk, like with my mother and my sister.
Mhm.
My mother, we had to talk a few times, but it basically was just like, hey, you don't help me enough for this
Mhm.
feedback because I was doing
Mhm.
everything by myself. My mom was not one to babysit or any of that, which was okay. I was like, this is my child,
Mhm.
my responsibility. But I was like, I have enough to deal with. I'm a divorced woman. I'm raising him on my own. I think I was probably in grad school. Like, I can't, I'm not coming over here for this feedback. So if this is what we're going to do, then God bless, and I will
Mhm.
never be here again. Because I don't
Mhm.
need a new person to argue with. Like, life is hard. But,
Yeah.
you got it. Poppy, thank you, Jesus, Poppy. And Poppy said, Laverne, you need to back up. Gabe
Yeah.
is an amazing young man. She's raising
Mhm.
him right. You need to back up.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, thank
Yeah.
you, Poppy.
Yeah. So for the listeners, give everybody grace, right? Let-
But they didn't see
Unless
the
it's
plan. The plan
yeah,
worked. The plan worked.
yeah,
He's
it
an
did work.
amazing guy. And so the rest of the family who all had the things to say, none of their children are doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
So
Well,
bless you. Thank
hopefully,
you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. He knew better.
some of them will take note and
No, they
change.
said Wayna crazy, so we understand you.
Okay. Well,
And you were scared for your life. You were fighting for your life in there, weren't you, Gabe?
yeah. Gosh.
No, but
Yeah.
he's a sweet, sweet guy. But when we were talking about those challenges, what really came to mind, and I know we're wrapping up, is blended family. Myself being in a blended family is very hard to watch kind of the low energy parenting that's taking place. It's very hard for me
Mhm.
because I want to say something because I know that the kids are not. If your foundation isn't stable, like I'm
Mhm.
sure your kids knew, mom and dad are going to always be there. It doesn't matter how bad I mess up. They love me, they're gonna correct me, but I
Mhm.
think my babies don't have a solid foundation to fall back
Okay.
on. Who can catch them? That's hard, and I know people listening are in blended families, and it's very hard not to co-parent or point out or.
If there's divorces or all of that, like
It's
put
different. It's different, yeah.
making sure that they're not putting the child in the middle of all of that when you're
Mhm,
parenting. Parenting is just hard, and there are definitely some things that make it a little more challenging, and that is
mhm,
definitely one of those
mm.
things. And like you were talking about, yeah, that makes things definitely more challenging.
Sadly, a lot of people in my generation were not parented well, so they are not
Yeah,
parenting well.
because they just don't. Yeah, they don't know how unless they get somebody outside that
Mhm.
says, "Hey, how about this way?" Or "How about this sort of thing?" Then it brings attention to it. Otherwise, how do you? You only can do what you're exposed to or what you've read about or what you've seen.
I don't know. I went on a self journey of that, like that
Yeah.
exact thing of how did you keep going. And for me, it was just like I didn't have anything in front of me. I was just like, something has to be
So
better
yeah.
than this.
Yeah.
Something. And that
Yeah.
something journey took me maybe 10, 15 years. Something has to be better. It has to feel better than this. This can't be it. It's like this can't.
Yeah, it's interesting if we had more time, we could dive
Mhm.
into that. Like, where was that shift? How did you determine what was better than this? How did you discover what that is? And so I think a lot of times it's just people, well, you have talked on previous episodes about when you were in Florida and people that stepped up to support and help you. That was probably a piece of it. Is those
It's more
outside
just
people, those
slowing
outside
down.
people.
It's slowing down. How do I feel when I'm around this person?
Yeah.
Do it feel like sunshine or do I feel like garbage?
Yeah.
And paying attention to when my body shifts in each room that I go in.
Mhm.
And so looking more of those things, and it's like, I don't wanna be around people that make me feel bad,
Sure.
period.
Yeah.
Because they feel bad or whatever. I don't
Yeah.
I will be alone. So that's kinda the shift, and the Lord was always there nudging, try this over here. Go talk to that person over there."
Yeah.
All they can say is no. That became my motto. All they can say is no. No, they can't help
Mhm.
me. No, they can't give me a right to work or whatever. I
Mhm.
would just advocate for myself before I knew
Yeah.
what that looked like.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
God, it's all in the mix. So, as
Awesome.
we close though, Teresa has mentioned several journeys that her and her girls have went on. So there was a transition from high school to college, then there was a transition from college to adulthood, and then there was a transition to marriage, and then there was a transition to the grandbabies. So she talks about several transitions that we all make. I can't wait till the grandbabies can. Cause I'm gonna be so extra. I can't wait. Son has no clue. He's just gonna be like, God, don't answer the phone. Are they crying? I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
Yeah, yeah. I can't wait to see that.
I can wait 10 years. It's coming.
Okay. All
It's
right.
gonna be
Well,
great. It's gonna be great.
I'm looking
But
forward
you
to
and your
that.
babies or everybody seems very healthy. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Very
Yeah.
happy. You guys do things all the time. You plan things for each other. And
Mhm.
it's so sweet. It's so sweet. I
Very
love that. You and your husband are doing amazing.
Thanks.
Mm.
Thanks. We're very intentional of making sure that there are some things in place. I
It's
feel like
true.
we don't see each other enough. I'd love
Mhm.
to see each other more, but I know where they are in life, and I remember when I was in life where they are now, and
Mm.
not seeing my parents as much and his parents as much just because we were so busy with our families and
Mhm.
our kids at the time. So I really do kinda, like you said earlier, kinda let go of that, give them grace, and not push so hard to see them as often as I would like to. But I do
Mhm.
intentionally really do push to say, let's at least get together once a month as an entire family. So that's very intentional. So yeah,
I
but
was
thanks
that
for that.
person. I'd be like, "Okay, mom, I cooked dinner. Y'all need to stop by so you can see the children. Come and see
Yeah,
your grandkids."
yeah.
So I did that
So
for
I just
years,
want, yeah. So
every
I just
Sunday.
want to say, kind of as we close, like if you have a family dynamic or you would like to share something about your family, of course, we would love to have you on the on an episode, and or find us on social media and share your insight on how things shifted as you became parents to kids going off to college to being dating to married to grandkids. Would love to hear from
Mhm.
you.
Yeah. And pictures. Pictures would be great. I love
I
pictures.
love that. Yeah.
Let's see the beautiful people. Let's see the grandbabies and how you're spoiling them rotten, because that's what I plan on doing if God give me the chance. Just share, just share. That makes me think of all kind of things though, Teresa. Like,
Yeah.
man, how did your daughters, when did you know they were in love? How were they when that happened? What was the courtship? My mind just goes down
Oh, yeah. Well,
that's
for
another
another
show. But
that's for another episode. So we love that you're here. Share this if you know of someone that can benefit from anything that we said. And we look forward to seeing you next time.